Okay, marijuana is a little tricky one, right?
It
So,
is.
so it's 20 grams or less. You know, most people have a little bit more than 20 grams of weed if
Most people
they
do.
bought that weed life, right? So,
Yes,
like,
they bought that
even the
life.
things that they do, they're gonna end up with more than 20 grams of marijuana. And if it's more than
Right.
20 grams, it's a felony. Then when you become a
True.
felon, it has all kind of crazy effects on your life, right? And
Yeah.
I have a scenario. So I have a friend of mine whose son he hears voices. So I don't know if he's schizophrenic, bipolar, whatever. He hears voices. When he was on traditional medication, because they just gonna give him the Zoloft, the Prozac, whatever. He's like, all
Yeah.
I do is sleep, auntie, and then I can't do anything. But
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
smokes
Poor
weed,
guy.
it calms him down. He don't hear the voices, and
It's
it's
good.
and it's better for him, right? But then he gets arrested about every 2-3 weeks, at least once a month, at most once a month, because he has possession of marijuana. And the reason why he has the marijuana is to quiet the voices in his head.
It's for
So say
medicinal
you have
purposes.
someone
Yeah.
that comes into your office and they have more than 20 grams of marijuana, and it's
Yeah.
clear that they have. Are you going to prosecute that person and make them a felon and just
No.
completely cause all kind of problems in their life?
Short answer, no. That goes with the discretion. Traditionally, prosecutors in Broward County haven't had discretion. They haven't been encouraged to use their common sense. As my daddy would always say, or my granddad as well, common sense ain't so common. And that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes into your hiring practices, recruiting people, talented people to actually understand the communities that they serve. In a situation like that, all our prosecutors would know that any possession of cannabis case, if it's 20 grams or less, we're not trying it, so don't even bother. Secondly, we would then have a scale. We tell them, hey, if it's above that threshold, look at the facts. So in a classic scenario that you presented to me, our prosecutors would be trained. A situation like that where someone is using it for medicinal purposes with a medical card or no medical card,
Okay.
we're not prosecuting those cases. Now, if it's a situation where it's above 20 grams and the facts kind of lends itself where it's not a medicinal situation, we're going to offer diversion. Which hasn't traditionally been offered for situations like that. You don't have to go to drug court. We're going to create a diversionary program so we don't have to file those charges. And so we can drop those cases and not put you into the system. Those are some creative ways that I think that we can approach these issues while not criminalizing people for low-level drug offenses. I understand people are going to have more than 20 grams, but I find based on my research and studies and experience as a prosecutor, a lot of the cases, the backload of cases in the misdemeanor court trial docket and just in the criminal justice system alone were those possession of cannabis cases that were 20 grams or less. So that's where I'm starting. That's the threshold that I'm starting with the hope and the thought that it is decriminalized. And as state attorney, I would. If I got a question from the legislature and that issue or item is up in the House, I'll take myself up there to Tallahassee and I'll tell them that they should legalize it. And I'd give it from a criminal justice standpoint.
Okay, I want to
That's
push
my stance on that.
just a little bit more because I have another client, right? I
Yeah.
had another client. This is from years ago, right? So what
Yeah.
he used to do is when he got paid on Friday, is like he would go to the weed man and get all his weed for the weekend, right?
Yeah,
He gets pulled over and he has like a bunch of weed on him, but it's not
a lot.
for him to traffic. He's like, no. And then
Yeah.
my clients call me Miss Sandra. No, Miss Sandra, I just get all the weed that I need for the weekend on Friday when I get off for work, so I don't have to go back to the house and get more, right? He
Right. He buys it in bulk. Buys it in bulk.
So if you get this guy in your office and you believe that he really just buys all the weed that he needs for the weekend, and he has an amount that looks like he's trafficking marijuana, but he isn't, what do you do with a scenario like that?
That goes back to the training and common sense and actually looking at the facts. You have to look, I hate to say it, sometimes you have to look at the person's record. I venture to say he probably doesn't have a crazy record at all, right?
Nope, just like the smoke weed.
Exactly. And so that goes to that and it goes to the point, common sense, giving your prosecutors discretion. That's another fact pattern and scenario. If you're adequately training your prosecutors to understand the communities that they serve, to actually look beyond the probable cause affidavit, because I guarantee that probable cause affidavit was a little bit exaggerated from the actuality of the situation, right?
Yeah.
And so that's another problem that we have. We have state attorney's offices, not only in Broward County, but throughout the country and the state, where they're traditionally relying on probable cause affidavits to make their filing decisions, and they're doing nothing else. That, like I said, once again, goes to training and giving your prosecutors discretion to think outside the box, and also look past those probable cause affidavits. And I'm a I'm a strong believer. I'm an advocate for having straight attorneys' offices that are reflective of the communities that they serve. If you have prosecutors of color, women prosecutors, if you have prosecutors from the LGBTQ plus community and other communities, Hispanics, you have a workforce there where we can bounce ideas off of each other. We can look at fact scenarios similar to your clients and make appropriate decisions. If you have prosecutors that have never experienced or seen certain things like these, you can't do the job, honestly, in my opinion. Now, if you never lived in that, you can learn. That's part of having a diverse workforce. And so I'm an advocate for that because it makes a huge difference. Because sometimes it could be a matter of life or death.
Okay.